This ABC15 Flash Briefing is sponsored by Sanderson Ford. All roads lead to Sanderson Ford.
I'm Christine Stanwood with your top stories from ABC15 Arizona. The sentencing for former Arizona Prisons Chief Charles Ryan, who was involved in an armed standoff, has been postponed until February. He was scheduled to be sentenced today after pleading no contest to a disorderly conduct charge. The charges related to a standoff with police at his home 2 years ago, when police say he fired a gun inside his Tempe home, pointed a gun at 2 officers during a 3-hour standoff. His plea deal involves probation and an $8,500 fine. Former President Donald Trump ignoring a judge's restrictions during closing arguments, denouncing the civil fraud trial in New York as a witch hunt and a persecution by someone running for office.
We have a company that's very liquid, very strong, great assets, and she sued me because she wanted the publicity to run for office, but they find nothing wrong. And I think if anybody was being fair about it, and I'm not sure you can even hear me because they don't allow microphones over here, which is a little ridiculous.
New York's Attorney General accused Trump, his eldest sons, and also top executives of conducting a decade's worth of business based on fraud. The judge in the case has already ruled Trump submitted fraudulent valuations, but the judge will now decide what penalty, if any, the defendant should receive. The former president has denied all wrongdoing. President Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, facing a Los Angeles judge today. Hunter arraigned on 9 federal tax-related charges, accusing him of failing to pay $1.4 million in taxes from 2016 to 2020. Now, the indictment alleges that Hunter earned millions of dollars from foreign entities and spent millions of dollars on an extravagant lifestyle at the same time he chose not to pay his taxes. The back taxes were eventually paid in 2020 by a third party. Hunter Biden faces 17 years in prison if convicted. He has called the charges politically motivated. Mesa residents should soon have an easier time charging their EVs, as nearly $12 million federal dollars are being invested in charging stations all in the area. Mesa beat out other cities looking to expand their electric vehicle infrastructure, getting a grant from the federal government to add 48 new vehicle charging ports all around the city.
Mesa had a particularly strong vision that showed how this is going to bring charging ports to areas that didn't have them.
We'll take you into how much of a challenge it can be to get EV charging access outside the Valley of the Sun later tonight. Phoenix Rescue Mission is calling on your help, caring for people experiencing homelessness during these frigid winter nights. Every winter, the mission puts together these hope totes, and their staff members hand them out to people on the streets. They have supplies in them to help people get through a cold winter's night, like hand warmers, socks, gloves, and chapstick. You can actually even put together hope totes of your own by adding these items to a gallon-sized bag. A rescue mission case manager says these items really do make a difference. They make people feel like someone cares and like they're not alone. He understands the struggle because he once was homeless too.
I was pretty hopeless, but there's just a little bit of hope when you get something like that people do care. You know, there are people out there that don't just look the other way. There is no like big or small when it comes to helping people that are on the street. Anything can help.
Phoenix Rescue Mission accepts items and hope totes at their warehouse location on 34th Drive in Phoenix. We posted all the information and list of items that they need on our website at abc15.com. The Arizona Coyotes wrap up a homestand tonight after a thrilling overtime victory Tuesday. They're hosting the Calgary Flames before heading on a 3-game road trip. Catch all the action live on Arizona 61 starting at 6:30.
I'm meteorologist Amber Sellens tracking your most accurate forecast and our latest winter storm that is now clearing out to the east tonight. Behind it, some really cold air and another round of freeze and hard freeze warnings here across central Arizona. Those areas in the dark blue, that's where we'll see the colder temperatures and a longer period of time overnight below the freezing point. A lot of these spots dipping down to the 20s by sunrise tomorrow morning. Temperatures across the valley in the 30s. Sky Harbor should stay above the freezing point, but much of the rest of the valley Valley will not. So frost on those windshields early tomorrow morning. We will wake up to the 30s and end up in the 50s in the afternoon, still well below the average of 67 for this time of year. Now, we will warm things up over MLK Day weekend. Highs back in the 60s Saturday and Sunday, up to 66 on Monday. And we've even got some 70s now in the forecast toward the middle to end of next week.
This ABC15 flash briefing is sponsored by Sanderson Ford. All roads lead to Sanderson Ford.